All right, guys, we are live here Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023 at 8:01 p.m. Central Standard Time. I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I want to wish everybody, for all the American viewers out there, a happy pre-Thanksgiving. I hope tomorrow, if you're celebrating with friends, family, you have a very, very safe holiday. And that's all we got, guys. I'm just kidding. No. Swiggy, Gavin, how are y'all doing tonight? Are y'all doing anything for the holidays? Are you already ready and gearing up for Christmas at this point?
I'm going. I'm going to go see Napoleon tomorrow. I would just doing a chill Thanksgiving. So so of course going to go and enjoy a Ridley Scott war movie. Let's go.
Nice, nice. And what are the reviews on it so far? Because I only honestly found out about Napoleon maybe 12 hours ago because of
Reviews
the casting.
reviews range between it's ungodly horrible to it's one of the most to it's an amazing experience. I honestly Ridley Scott it's Ridley Scott, so his 4 hour cut is probably going to be better. See Kingdom of Heaven and Blade Runner, but
Yeah,
I mean it's a historical movie, and you have a certain segment of people who buy into the propaganda version of Napoleon, where he was this super cool guy who conquered stuff and he was a great conqueror, when in reality I mean the guy was owned by his wife like very badly. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing. In reality, Napoleon was a gigantic dork. He was. He, don't get me wrong, great military commander, and he knew what he was doing. But not in Spain. But we ignore Spain. but the point is, no, Napoleon was a huge dork, which is what it sounds like he is in this movie, and that sounds awesome. Because look, Napoleon. The reason Napoleon won was he was obsessive compulsive and stayed up for basically weeks straight planning invasions. So that's why he was that's why he was so good, because he was dealing with people who are just like, let's just march forward and hope for the best.
Gotta love history. Gotta love history. Sweet, Gavin, what about you? Anything going on specifically for the holidays right now before we gear up for the Big 12 finale?
Well, I'll probably have to go to. I'm gonna have to go to work tomorrow though, because the one thing that they've always have is that the news never really takes a day off of anything. So they just basically have me part of the skeleton crew this year and doing the Thanksgiving show for during the morning. Now,
Yeah,
what's nice though is that there are some hours that are going to be, completely scrapped because of the fact that they have the whole Thanksgiving Day parade, which is going to be aired on the CBS and everything. So luckily, that's going to be where that's going to be taken care of. The only
hmm
downside is that since the Lions are playing on Fox, we still have to do a noon show and everything else, though, too, because it can't be preempted or anything like that, too. So that's the only downside.
right.
Stupid lions.
Yeah, yeah. If
Yeah,
anything, I wanted CB. It's like I wish they would have it every year on that, but they
Eh,
always
um,
alternate
yeah.
between
well,
CBS and Fox every
well,
year between the Lions and the Cowboys.
CBS got screwed this year. No offense, just because NBC has the dog show, ABC's playing more Good Morning America, Fox has the Packers, and CBS is news. So it bites.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
at least Gavin, do they at least rotate that at y'all's news station for like, all right, you're doing Thanksgiving, but then you get Christmas and vice versa? Or is it like, all right,
Yeah,
we're going to stagger who goes in and who doesn't?
yeah. It kind of always alternates usually on the holidays for the most part for me. So, and with a lot of like well, kind of some of the new technology changes and stuff like that though too. We've been luckily just been able to kind of do it to the parts where not everybody really has to stay there. I mean, you would probably like you'll do a show on like out on the floor for an hour and then you get off an hour then you might be in a control room for 1 hour, and then you might get off an hour, and that's about it. So it's very easy to where even you can do it, Josh, if you wanted to do it.
Yeah, because a lot of it's automated. If anything, for the holidays, there's already so much pre-recorded content. It's just making sure it runs smoothly.
That's pretty much all it is.
For those of you who care about basketball, Thunder 50, Bulls 39 at the half, and Bulls are 4 of 22 on 2-pointers tonight. That's abysmal. Consider that 4 of 22. That's just horrible.
Yeah.
The Bulls are really bad this year. They're like really, really bad.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Thunder are improving, which when you get some good draft picks, it helps.
Well, it's not only the draft picks, but also trading the draft picks as well is too, which has been very helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, the Thunder has had a lot of struggle because it's been a lot of injury as of late with it, where they've had everything planned and then everything falls apart due to a season-ending injury. Like what's his face against LeBron last year for it. That really, really messed up everything. So this is really the first year they're walking in like fully healthy and fully like top to bottom a really good team. For it, in my opinion, like where there's no outlining issues, there's no injury, there's no nothing. But that's the Thunder. Let's talk some Sooner football, guys. 2 days from now, OU's a lot of lasts happen. It's senior day, obviously. It's going to be the last game of the regular season. It feels like, honestly, yesterday we were sitting here previewing Arkansas State. And then last regular season game as Big 12 members. This is the swan song.
The last game of the Big 12. Oh, I'm so sorry, so emotional. Definitely right.
I can hear it in your voice. You're just so sad.
No, man. I promise I'll write you every summer. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, that's what the girl told me in back in high school at summer camp. I'll write you every year. Sure. But no, it still is a lot of laughs because this is the end of for OU, it's a beginning of a new chapter for sure. But it's also the last two of they have this history with the Big 8 for well over almost I think altogether 100 years at this point plus.
Yeah.
And they're moving on at this point. For us specifically, good in the sense of it, good riddance of we don't have to deal with 11 a.m. kicks most of the times anymore. We don't have to deal with the Big 12 shitty refs at this point. So there is positives from it, but it really is the swan song. I don't expect OU to go all out with the pageantry celebrating the conference. I mean, I told another friend, other Josh, that I said, man, wouldn't it be awesome of the last time they march out with the Big 12 flags, they just set them all on fire? That'd be great. I'm all for that. Let's burn it down. Or march out with the SEC logo already on the field. Because what are they going to do? So, there's also the rest. But no, we still have our last game, and it's going to be a revenge game against the national championship runner-ups who are probably, I think, the last record of a team that won the national championship and then not being bowl eligible the following year was LSU. And before that, 2009 Texas. That's where TCU is at right now, where they could potentially not be bowl eligible. As we said almost a year ago, if the only reason they're doing it this far is because they have super senior COVID players. Now they're kind of reaping what they're sowing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, TCU also got, I don't want to say lucky last year, but because I mean, they did kind of get lucky because I mean, they wanted USC last year. They were ready for it. They were begging, and then or Bama even. But Bama lost to LSU. Bama had 2 losses, and that kind of made them toast.
Yeah. But this year, obviously, this team is not at all what they were last year, and they're even still struggling at this point with it. I mean, if you take a look at their offense and defense, I mean, they have some passing. They're not that good at running. Same thing with defense. The defense is pretty much a middle of the pack type of defense with it. Passing defense is really in the middle, while the run defense is at really, I think, second or third. So they do have some studs. They do have the ability to make it a game. And I think TCU is going to try to make it a game. They're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink. They're going to treat this as their Super Bowl because they need it to be a bowl eligible. I think OU is going to walk in hungry for it because they know they can't mess this up to even be able to have a chance to sniff Arlington still, based on what will happen on Saturday at this point. There's plenty of players that they need to look out for. I'm not impressed, though, by their quarterback. While his completion percentage is like higher up versus some of the other ones, it's still only 65%. Hoover, he has an arm. He can throw it, but his average still is only about 7.8 yards. It's not as good as other ones as well. And he's not the one throwing the touchdowns. I think where he's going to burn us specifically is going to be probably in the middle of the field, trying to pick up those first downs. For OU specifically, I mean, if you saw that injury report and everything like that, like I think OU still is going to be able to compete. Obviously, I don't see a scenario where OU, they're not dealing with terrible field like at BYU. They're not dealing with their key players being on injury at this point. The big story will be how Jackson Arnold's going to handle TCU, because let's be honest, Dylan's not playing. Like, I will be shocked. I will be floored if he is able to get there in 6 days. Absolutely will be floored. But I don't
expect it. I just don't see it, though, too, because, last time they had a concussion, which was, of course, against TCU, and everything else. So, too, I just really feel like at this point, though, too, I think his career's done. And that I think what they're going to just try and do is just go ahead and just start Jackson Arnold and just go ahead and start for the future now and getting ready for it towards next year. Even if we do make it to the Big 12 conference title, I just can't see a way to where, it's going to be very beneficial for Gabriel at this point.
Correct. And that's how I see it too, is I just do not see him getting cleared the concussion protocol this week. Now, if they make it to the Big 12 championship, maybe he might have a potential to play for it, but for this game, I just don't see him being able to turn around in a shorter week at this point. I do, as a side note, I'm still very grumpy that this is a Black Friday game at 11 a.m. Like, there's no other games, guys, and yet you still found a way to put it in 11 a.m. This is truly the biggest screw you from the Big 12 conference.
I mean, Miami, but what? You don't want to, Iowa, Nebraska? Come on, Josh. This is the kind of respect this kind of respect. These are the people who are. This is the respect
or
we
Missouri
deserve.
And Arkansas.
Miami, Boston College. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't even mind I don't even mind that's a black. This is my thing. If you're gonna make it a Black Friday game, it should have been Oklahoma State. I understand. I get a lot goes into scheduling. I will never understand why if you're doing it Black Friday, it should be rivalry, like Oregon State. That's fine. That's fun. Texas. Yeah, Texas. That's great. I mean, I'll be dead on Saturday, but that's that's Ohio State and Michigan for you.
Yeah.
Oh God,
yeah.
Be dead.
So, if I remember correctly, the last time we actually did play on a Black Friday was actually back in 2018 against West Virginia. That was the last time we actually had a Black Friday game, and that was like a 7 p.m. kick when we were up in Morgantown, and it was deciding who would play against Texas.
Yeah, right. And that's just fine. I'm just like make it. It's just so lame, and I don't mind football on Black Friday, but it's kind of like you're just making an 11 a.m. You're just making an 11 a.m. Black Friday game. I mean, to be fair, it's gonna be better than what the NFL's doing because man, the NFL bet hard on Aaron Rodgers, so now I get to watch Tua versus Tim Boyle.
Oh boy!
Well,
oh boy!
And I think part of it was like this game was scheduled way before the season started, to where like the kickoff and everything, like back at the very beginning of the season, of when that was going to be announced. So, and it was like, it was just kind of like one of those points to where they were just it was basically a way to basically hype it up, saying, "Oh, you got the national championship runner-up against the powerhouse of Oklahoma." Hoping that TCU would do all that, maybe getting all that. But after what TCU,
TCU had no one coming.
No, I know, but but it's like just from the marketing standpoint, they just basically bought bad stock and everything, and now we're basically all having to pay for it.
I mean, they shouldn't have scheduled it this far out anyway, in my opinion, because anyone who took it any type of serious was like, okay, let's see what TCU does first. Let's see what they are first before this game's going to be hyped. It's still a slap in the face of putting us at an 11 a.m. on a Friday. Friday.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, it's just everything. I mean, what makes it, and see, that's why I hated, like, I honestly thought I thought BYU was going to be like a 1:30 or 2:30 game, just because I'm like, there's no way they'll put us that early, because we've had so many penciled in 11 a.m. games where and that's fine. Texas is 11 a.m. It's going to be what's going to be. I've made peace with that a long time ago. I don't care. I know we always start with some that just are, but BYU versus us at 11 was just that's just annoying. Even Texas hasn't had that many 11. Even Texas has had fewer 11 a.m. games, but whatever. It's done. We're just at the point where I just want to win, and then whatever happens this weekend happens.
Yeah.
I hope for good. I hope BYU randomly beats Oklahoma State. I'm not betting on that, but you know what? It's possible. I mean, Tech could beat Texas, and Iowa State could beat Kansas. It's possible, but I'm at the point where I'm just kind of like, I'm just not even worrying about it. Whatever happens will happen.
It'll play out.
There's nothing. Yeah, because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing.
It'll play out. And that's me.
Well,
I don't think BYU is going to beat Oklahoma State, but then again, they're in the same position TCU is. They need one game to get bowl eligible. I think they're going to do the same thing. I don't think they're going to do it, though, but you never know. Same thing. I have my full tinfoil hat theory on with that. I think Texas is going to lose to Tech just because of Yormark's statements earlier in preseason. I think they're still going to try their best to keep Texas out. Expect 20 flags. And I'm going to tell you right now, if that does happen, oh boy, am I going to be on our Sunday stream going, I told you so. I will absolutely be in line saying that.
Well, another thing too, and this is something that I was thinking about though too, is that, watching Oklahoma State and everything, because I kind of keep up with everything on this side of the state with things that are going on. Oklahoma State has been one of those teams to where they are one of the most bipolar football teams that I can think of in quite some time.
Hey, Gavin, that's an insult. That's an insult to bipolar people are way, way more even than Oklahoma State this year. Go
you should be ashamed, Gavin.
Go on.
Yeah, because it's like they would they would play like a complete football team, and then the next couple plays or so, then they're basically just are looking at them like, what the heck are we doing? I mean, I even was checking that Houston game and everything.
Houston threw up on themselves for that.
Houston did, yes, but Houston had their way with them, and then Houston just threw up on themselves. I give credit on that. But at the same time, this was also the same team that for nearly 6 quarters, basically could not get their act together after the whole Bedlam game.
We should, and I still say we should have beat them during Bedlam. That's it.
Yes.
I know that. I know.
It is what it is.
I'm mostly over the past
interference call,
but yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, but but my point still stands though too. They are very inconsistent though too, and that's kind of been the issue that I have for the most part. Now, the other thing too with Texas, and yeah, I kind of have some thoughts on the whole thing with them too. But the problem that I have though is that after the whole issue with Texas for me, they have played a lot more closer games than I can really count and realize, because a lot of them have been where they've been, where they've been favored so much by against the spread, yet they've only been getting to where there have been one possession games. And I know Iowa State, they got to like 10 points or anything, but it was still under. So, like, I'm kind of at the point to where, I think like for the most part, yeah, yes, they had some injuries with Ewers, and of course they're out with their running back and everything. But to kind of have it to where it's kind of been this close and everything, especially this late towards the season, I feel like if anything, yeah, they'll make it to the Big 12 title game. But I am, blame.
If they make it, Gavin, they're going to win it.
Yeah, exactly.
Kansas State and Oklahoma State are not going to have enough firepower and juice to take Texas down.
Yeah.
Now Texas is going to struggle because their best with Brooks out with that. Absolutely, they're going to struggle. But yeah, I think they still are going to struggle against Tech though.
Just win, yeah. I honestly, I'm much more hopeful of Tech beating Texas and Iowa State beating Kansas State, because those are two really I can see those happening. I'm not sure they will. But I mean, BYU could easily do it too. I don't know. As far as Texas goes, I don't know. I mean, if Texas is going to beat whoever they face in the Big 12 champ game, and like right now,
they're still going to need help to get into the playoff.
They will. It's because right now we have 4 undefeated teams, and
right.
Like I said, I think I said last week, I'll say it again. This does not benefit me in any way, but it'll be the funniest two situations for me. Texas wins the Big 12, but Alabama wins the SEC, and they put Bama in over Texas, which might just cause the sports universe to implode. Or the funnier one, Florida State, Washington, Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia all go undefeated, and Texas just is left out. In fact, yeah, I mean, how do you like to tell Texas? How do you like to tell Texas that at the beginning of the season? Oh yeah, you're gonna have one loss. You're gonna lose the Big 12. You're gonna win the Big 12. You're going to beat Bama by 10 in Tuscaloosa. Your only loss is a rivalry game and that you lost in the last 30 seconds, but you didn't make the playoff. That would be that's the funniest situation to me. But I mean, we don't know anything. I mean, we don't know it. I know people. I know people are high on Oregon, but like I don't know how good Oregon actually is. Like I
mean, they were a field goal difference between Washington and Oregon.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how. But then again, I think if anything, Oregon I think has been I think the most turnaround I've probably seen in quite some time after the Alamo Bowl. For the most part.
But we knew that was going to happen with Dan Lanning, though.
No, yeah, Dan Lanning's probably like one of the better turnarounds I've seen in quite some time. And they got the Nike money too. So
Look what Cristobal's doing to Miami, and like after Cristobal left, everything that happened with Oregon was about who can we hire. As long as they knocked that, as long as they got like a good hire, Oregon was still going still going to matter, because once again, Nike money. And, as much as I know I'm sure USC fans hate hearing this, but I mean Oregon's a much better Pac-12 team than they are at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird to say, but here we are.
I mean, it's still one of those years. Like if OU didn't throw up on themselves in 2 games, would they have won a playoff game? I don't know. Maybe.
I would not. I don't think they would with this team.
I mean, you never know though. I mean, if you're looking at it, because look, there are no great teams this year. Georgia's look beatable. I think Ohio State with McCord.
Well, I wouldn't count Georgia anymore because they've unlocked their hidden powers.
Well, but still, I wouldn't call it, but they're not like they don't feel inevitable like Georgia the last couple of years has felt inevitable. You can beat them. I don't think it's easy, but they just don't have that. They just don't have that feeling to it. Ohio State with McCord is very beatable. Washington's done a good job avoiding stuff, and as long as you keep winning, it doesn't matter. But but they're not exactly the greatest. And I have no idea what's going to happen with Florida State and Travis with Travis out. I mean, if there's one of the current top five, if there's one of the current teams I would pick to, I think could just lose it. It's definitely Florida State. They have Florida at the Swamp. Billy Napier's coaching to keep his job. Unless of course they decide to fire him, in which case, well, he might, there might be quit. But even then you have Louisville. Now, of course, well, let's be fair. Florida State could be good enough to overcome it. We saw. I can come up with Ohio State with Cardell Jones, and they were in a similar position to Florida State, and they won it all. So I'm not counting Florida State out. I'm just saying of the teams who I think are going to lose. Ohio State, Michigan. That's going to work itself out on Saturday, and whoever wins that is beating Iowa in the Big Ten champ game. So we're not worried about that. I think Georgia's probably going to beat Bama, but that's like the one. I don't know. Melrose played a lot better. Their offenses seem to change. I don't feel like it's over for. I don't feel like. I still think Georgia should be favored, but I could definitely see Bama winning that game. And then Washington, Oregon gets a second shot. It's hard to beat a team twice, but we'll see. We'll see with that. And Florida State has, Florida State easily has the toughest. Florida State has a tough schedule, rivalry game, and then Louisville. Sean said it last week. Louisville's gotten a lot of disrespect. I don't see a situation where Louisville can somehow climb and make it into the playoff, but I don't know. You never know. Maybe Oregon loses this week. Oregon loses to Oregon State. Washington loses to Washington State. Oregon wins the Pac-12. Georgia wins out. Ohio State, Michigan win out. Florida State. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just talking at this point. Coming up with weird situations.
How you feeling with Ohio State right now against Michigan?
I mean, I'm ready to die. Worse than I did against Texas, just because I honestly, everything with the cheating scandal has kind of screwed up what I felt about how I felt about Ryan Day, as how he's done against Michigan, and I do not know what's going to happen with that. If you tell me Michigan comes out, plays a great game, and they end up beating Ohio State, I'd be like, yeah, I could see that. But Michigan hasn't looked great against Maryland. They looked so against Penn State. The team is in disarray, but it is a rivalry, so Michigan might have some surprise. Michigan's gonna have some surprises up their sleeve, and I really don't like McCord. If you want to talk about recruiting mistakes, Ohio State getting Ewers just screwed them up for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Not totally their fault, because if you can get Ewers, I get why you did it, because nobody knew CJ Stroud would be good. But I don't blame Ewers for leaving either. I mean, to make that clear, I don't think I mean, Ewers, life's too short to spend a season behind C.J. Stroud when Texas is when Texas is very willing to start you. So I don't. So I don't blame him for that. But this is the year they're paying for it because Stroud left, and they didn't really recruit any, and they weren't able to recruit any big 5-stars with Ewers and Stroud in that room. So everything got screwed up there.
Circling back to OU versus TCU for a moment,
yeah.
How are you feeling about the game tomorrow, Swiggy? And then I'll bounce to you, Gavin.
I'm feeling. I mean, well, Friday, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Friday. Well, Thanksgiving doesn't exist as a day. It's just like 2 Fridays. It's just Friday part 1. I'm feeling good. I don't think it's the same with BYU. I don't think TCU is that good. I do think that, like you said earlier, they're going to come to play because they really, really need to make a bowl game. I mean, they can still live off the good vibes of that national championship run. That they lost horribly, but it does look bad when you go from national champions to, oh god, the reason we're not making a bowl game is because Dion beat us in week 1. Yeah, so TCU is just not great. It's kind of, they're still in that, they're very much in that lower rung of the Big 12. I don't think we should have a problem. I could see this going kind of like the West Virginia game, where they might get some punches in early, but it's not going to be. But they're not going to be able to keep it up all game, especially on the road. And since OU is going to come to play for last home game in the Big 12, and I mean, and there's a revenge factor. The only thing I think that where we could definitely get screwed up, like I know what I'm getting with Dylan. I have no idea what we're getting with Jackson Arnold. Although but the fact that we're at least at home for it could be Jackson Arnold's first start makes me feel a lot better than if we were in Fort Worth.
I think that's a good point to put out because we are a completely different team on the road, and being at home, I think they have a lot more confidence.
Yeah. And that's and so and that's gonna help Jackson Arnold if he starts. We still don't know and probably want, and I'm guessing we're not going to know until Friday morning.
Yeah, they're gonna keep that hidden.
Yeah, but I'd very much say if we haven't heard anything about it by like tomorrow, sometime someone breaks it. Someone breaks it at like noon or something. I'd very much think that Arnold's going if we don't hear anything by tomorrow.
What about is there any particular side of the ball that you're worried about, offense or defense?
Only offense. Just because I mean, Jackson Arnold's unknown. It's he's playing some garbage time, and we've heard, and I mean, he had one of the amazing check down pass, best check down pass that ever happened in a practice. But there's just too much I don't know. So that's the one factor where I think it could hurt us. I think Jackson Arnold is good. I'm just always skeptical whenever it's like, oh yeah, congrats kid, you're making your first start, and you don't even get to open up against like Kent State or Arkansas State or something. You get you get a conference game. So I don't know.
Gavin, what about you? How are you feeling with TCU on Friday? Is there any particular areas that you're worried about? Any particular spots or players?
I think for me, it's mostly a little bit on defense. After we've been going through some of these inconsistent woes. Now, I know we've been doing better at home when it comes to defense, but the problem that I have, though, has been like, it's just been at times, and it's like how Brent Venable says it, we are not filling in those gaps and everything when we need to contain the run. And that a lot of it still has been in alignment. Look, if it was week 1 or week 2, I would understand that. But we are near the end of the season, and for us to having to try and, go over the responsibilities of who's supposed to be filling in those gaps in the run, that's been the other issue. I know Stutzman's been injured a little bit, and of course, had to deal with food poisoning. Kip Lewis has been, kind of been in and out, so it's like, for me, it's kind of having that sort of inconsistency for the most part when it comes to the run. That has been the biggest issue that we've had after Texas.
You know what I'll be curious on, Gavin, when you're mentioning with the players and stuff as well. We said it Sunday, and now I may have changed my mind on it. Tyler Guyton. He didn't play last game, but apparently he was available to. I wonder if he's saving himself for the NFL now.
I think he might at this point. I mean, I just don't see another way around it whatsoever. But yeah, for me, this whole issue with the defense in the run game, that's an issue. And the thing is, TCU is not, it's like you said, it's not good with the run. But if we cannot handle the alignments of where we need to be, stopping the run, that's going to be the biggest issue, because it's always been very hit or miss. That has been the biggest issue for me.
Yeah. Well, I would say if I had one person I was worried about on TCU, it is their it's not their that he turns over the ball, but he's just a very consistent player for them, and ranks kind of in the top 20 players in the Big 12. I cannot say his name for the life of me, but it's their linebacker, I think Namdi Obi. I cannot say his last name. Obiazor. I don't want to butcher it, but looking at his stuff, he gets tackles for loss, he gets sacks. Like he is, I think, top 15 for sacks and everything. He can get in the backfield. I think that's going to be the question too, is how much push can TCU's O-line and D-line give at that point. But I've circled him a whole lot of, I think he's someone that we need to look out for at this point on their defense. In addition, same thing with, where did I list it? Mark Perry. I also think he's going to be one that to look out for. He's coming up too many times across the line of the stats and everything. Again, I think there's going to be more talent on our side of the ball, but I do think TCU is going to try. I think they're going to try some stuff. Same thing. I think we should expect trick plays are going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a fake punt or something at this point, because regardless, TCU plays us hard. I mean, they play us really hard, and they want to get that last laugh before we go out the door as well. Do you think we'll be able to clean up penalties?
No, because they're going to call whatever. No,
I mean, just in general, just for OU purposes of, will we stop having false starts? Will we stop having Andrew Rame tossing the ball back when he doesn't hear the snap count? Like, that's kind of what I'm curious on.
We can pray. We can pray on it.
And also like situational awareness. Nick Anderson is like, that one player. I know he's a freshman, but it's like some of the situational awareness of how he was trying to play and everything.
Yeah,
just kept hurting us over and over, even on special teams. I mean, look.
Yeah.
People are going to look. Here's the thing. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from OU players, from OU fans and everything. But if they're going by the law of the, from what OPI was, especially on that fake punt, when he was like 10, 15 yards downfield, and he was holding that receiver all the way down, like he was still blocking and everything, I can't defend that. Look, it's like, say what you want, but that is obvious OPI, and that was cost us a great fake punt.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is for it. I mean, got to be able to execute it. Got to be able to do it.
yeah, it's just like, okay, look, if you were like going for a route or something, maybe, but when you're holding a receiver like defensive back, no, I can't defend it.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Again, I'm trying to pull anything and everything, trying to think about things to talk about with TCU, as well as like looking at their offense and everything. But again, even looking at offense, like you could look at their rushing attack. Again, rushing and stuff, you have, I think I'm pronouncing it right. I'm probably not. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. But even with their rushing attack and everything like that, their top rusher is Chandler Morris. Based on like the averages and everything, they don't run it very well and everything. Like we have the best, like one of the better ones for rushing, like with our averages and everything. I think looking down the list, I'm trying to find the first TCU. Yeah, the first TCU player who's like rushing for as an actual running back, he's only averaging about 5.2 yards a carry. Like, yeah, but that's not good. That's very, very down the list when you look at like Xavier Townsend from UCF or Jaden Jackson from Kansas State or Ollie Gordon. Like that's not really as threatening.
No,
it sets them up in some weird positions for second down essentially. Now the flip side of it, I would say for wide receiver play, that's completely different because look at Jordan Bailey. Jordan Bailey's averaging about or I'm sorry, not Jordan Bailey. Where is it? Jordan Bailey, he has inflated stats because he's only had 5 receptions. JP Richardson, who is doing pretty good. I mean, he's kind of top in the league. That's his go-to guy essentially. But again, same thing. What's his averages and everything like that? Well, yeah, I think they're kind of a grab bag. What are we going to get on Friday? It's weird saying that Friday. So weird.
Yeah.
I
think what I was going to say, Josh, was and this is something I'm going to just key on though too. When you talk about with the quarterback being the lead rusher and everything, that's one thing. The thing is, and this is something I would probably say on as a key, is that for the run integrity and stuff like that, we got to make sure we know how to play. Somebody that's either doing a read or some sort of option variation. Because that was the issue we were struggling with BYU. If they try to run some sort of option and everything, and we're not staying in that integrity, it's going to be basically going to be easy gash all the way throughout the game. That's going to be the biggest issue. So I think if anything, the quarterback run will be a huge factor in this game.
Yeah. I think that really, guys, we covered a lot about TCU. I think the only other thing that I had listed for it, because it's kind of been slow, just been the holidays, but at some point in the next 5 years, I think at least the Big Ten and the SEC are going to split from the NCAA because it sounds like they're going to lose that antitrust case. Which is, I mean, it sounds like it, or they're going to settle it. But either way, it sounds like schools are going to have to pony up some money for like backlog. They're going to have to do some work for it, and it's all about that revenue sharing. I mean, they're going to go do their own thing at that point. They're not going to put up with it essentially. And it's the NCAA's fault. I mean, NCAA had all this time to fix everything for the past 20 years. And instead of like making stuff where it's like working with the players to get them paid, they were still determining if a bagel was a meal or a snack and making Gabe Ikard ineligible, for having his extra bowl of pasta. Again, all it fails for it. I mean, I think that's coming down the pipeline, and we'll know more about it. But I think you're going to see death of NCAA at that point for it, because once Congress is involved, and it's not going to get any better or anything at this point. It's just going to get worse, and a lot of schools' feelings are going to get hurt. Especially the ones if they're going to have to pay $5 to $10 million. There's probably like 25 schools that can realistically pay that and not worry about it. The rest of them, good luck.
Yeah.
So had a good thing going, but lots of stuff. Lots of stuff went into it. It was an unfair system, but everything has gone down. in the exact worst possible way. If you
Yeah.
like college football, now if you want a mini NFL, hey, congratulations, guys! Give it about 10 years, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
But for people who like tradition, well, yeah, good luck with you, kid. Good luck, kids. See you on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to clarify for people who don't know, the NCAA and the Power Five conferences are being sued with like NIL stuff and back pay and basically eliminating NCAA from being, I think, any involvement at all with NIL and everything, where schools can directly pay players at that point. It doesn't even have to be the excuse of NIL at that point. You're just going to have, it becomes weird because like you should just detach
Well, that's why
football and basketball from it because the Olympic sports will suffer from it for
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nobody. Yeah, and that, hey, nobody wants American Olympic sports to suffer. We all want it to go. We all want Olympic sports to still go great. But yeah, that's something that's going to affect certain. It will affect certain things. Hey, but talk about NIL because people were complaining about this week, and this kind of goes into the future of what might happen. What you're talking about, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
People were defending Caleb Williams not talking to the media, and I'm just like,
they're dumb.
That's not his job. That's not what he's paid for. I'm like, well, you know what? He's in national ads, and he's the quarterback at a huge school in Los Angeles. Yeah, he should deal with media, if for no other reason than because, my man, if you want to be in the NFL, you're gonna have to deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
Like that's what happened to Cam Newton. Remember how bad Cam Newton was with media after that Super Bowl loss?
I don't recall. I'm sorry.
That may just be me, but but people called him a brat.
Oh, you're talking about the Cam Newton,
Yeah.
though. Like he just was like,
very. Yeah. It was a horrible post Super Bowl press conference. Made him look bad, and that's part of his legacy.
It was the worst, and kind of just showed him kind of that spoiled brat, if anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why. Look, Lincoln. Look, and this is a Lincoln Riley thing. This is why you don't want Lincoln Riley to defend Lincoln Riley needs to at least throw some guys out there sometimes. Like, I respect Lincoln for wanting to protect his players. You can do that in Mississippi. You can do that in Alabama. You cannot do that in LA. There are too many papers. USC is a big deal in LA. And like, it's just one of those things that hurts. It's just one of those things that hurts your players in the long run. Because look, the NFL doesn't care what your excuses are. They're gonna make you talk to media.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're you can literally bring anything up, and there's gonna be like, you know what? No. You're talking. Have fun. Look, I'll say this here. I don't think Caleb has hurt himself as a number one pick. I would still take Caleb as the number one pick.
Yeah.
But just because, look, Drake May is just ACC QB number 365. There's nothing special. I don't think there's anything special about Drake May. He may be good. He could be. Could be fantastic. But as of now, May is who May is, and everything with it has me just. Caleb has such a higher ceiling. That said, I still have alarm bells going off in my head about him.
Mm-hmm.
Just the kind of attitude we've gotten, and look, man, Bryce Young didn't cry after he lost to LSU and missed the national championship game. CJ Stroud didn't go to the stands and cry to his mom after Georgia beat them. I get it. It could be a tough game. And if you're just on the bench and being emotional, but there's just so much about him we don't know because because once again, and this is not just a Caleb thing. This is a general thing. There are guys out there who want the millions without without putting in the extra work that comes with it. If you're an athlete, I go back to Kawhi Leonard always. Kawhi Leonard, great player. His shoe is worth a fraction of what LeBron's shoe costs. Why? Kawhi's not personable. Kawhi doesn't do interviews. Kawhi doesn't I think one year someone asked, "Hey, how's your Thanksgiving?" A journalist asked, "Hey, how's your Thanksgiving?" And the guy told him to just shut up. And I'm just like, well, that's part of it. It's because he doesn't want. It's fair. Fine. You want journalists in your personal life. You don't want to say what you're doing for Thanksgiving. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't fault guys for it, but you can't pretend like it's not going to affect how people see you and and future sponsorship deals. Look, people like LeBron. LeBron has had everything on his shoulders since he was 16, and he's gotten angry. Don't get me wrong. LeBron's done some dumb stuff, but that's part
LeBron.
of it. Yeah, that's part of it.
That's part of it.
Well, LeBron knows how to handle media, and that's why he makes so much money. That's just my point. It's that Riley has done a disservice to all of his players, and look, it's only going to get worse if he stays at USC and doesn't change his tactics, because we're entering this brave new world with it, and USC is going to be chugging along. They need someone who can lead them, and unless Riley totally changes everything about himself, I just don't see it for them.
I want to add something in, something I mentioned too about that NCAA split really fast too.
Yeah, go on.
Tying into the NIL stuff as well, because keep in mind, it's completely eliminating it. It's not even an adjustment. It's like it will not exist. Everyone's saying, well, how do we fix it? How do we change it? And I saw the stupidest recommendation. I went, you're dumb and you should be there's a reason why there's bullying online.
Oh, please tell me this.
Oh,
this person recommended that we really just need to overturn Oklahoma and Georgia versus the NCAA to give the NCAA their power back. I went, you're stupid.
No.
I said, do you like seeing your team on TV more than twice a season? Yeah, you're dumb. And I'm like, there's times that you should not have a platform. This is one of those times.
Okay,
yeah,
let's go back to the old days and just rely totally on the radio.
Yeah, it was a dumb comment to make, and I'm just like, this is someone who does not understand everybody benefited from that. Yes, are we in a weird position because it was not regulated, like coaches' salaries, NIL, everything like that? Yes. But that one, no, that was a dumb comment. That was an absolute dumb comment.
Just think about how much you would make pirating all those games, if anything.
Oh, it's as dumb as a comment as and they were saying we have more platforms like streaming and stuff. They would change the rules. I'm like, really? Would they really consider that something different than television? You be the judge on that one. It ranks up there with Josh Pate right now saying that Texas A&M is a better job than OU. Newsflash, Josh, no, it's not. No. It has not been a good job. But it's a good job if you want to grift, sure.
Well, 3 words, 77 to nothing.
It's not even that.
No, it's not even that. It's
A&M has the same problem that Nebraska has, where they have just this. No one is in charge there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's dumb. The other thing I'd mentioned too with it is what you mentioned too, Swiggy, about NIL. Did you see what Dion's crying about now? That I think if kids commit, they have to stay there. So you're gonna brag about the transfer portal, but now they can't.
That's so old. Come on, man. That's like the old. That's such an old take.
I think Dion's starting to figure out being a coach is pretty tough.
It is. It is. It's guy. Look, you have to look. Guys are gonna leave because, and look, for a lot of them, I'm fine with them leaving because you only get so many years. If you're not going to get playing time, you can't hoard players. You can't. This isn't like guys want to play. Guys want to try and make the NFL. You only have so many eligible years. There's a reason why Hurts left his last year at Bama. It's fine. It's life. It's what you have to deal with. Deion is someone who he wants things to be the Deion way. In other words, it's what else benefits him the most.
Yep.
Good for let's just I get it. Good for Deion. I want things to be like that for me too. But that just shows that Deion. I don't know if he has enough of the grind in him. He might though. He could.
I think he's just only in it for the kids. That's the only thing.
He's not a horrible coach. He's not. I mean, things could be. Things are going very bad for Colorado. But I mean, we all knew it was going to get bad for Colorado. Like having Nebraska on the schedule was a gift. I think Nebraska kind of. I think that Nebraska win just sets so many things off. Like as weird as it is to say, they would have been better off if they had lost like one of the first 3 games, so they could have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
And instead, everything just has fallen apart for them.
They're crashing back to reality really, really, really fast. It cracked me up just his whining and crying about it. It's like, Deion, my dude, you can't have it both ways. Guys, we're hitting about the hour point. Swiggy, or no, I'm gonna start Gavin. Gavin, final prediction against TCU, and wrapping up the final Big 12 season.
I'm gonna.
You can't say 11 billion.
Nah, I'm not. I'm gonna go 49-21 OU.
Okay. What about you, Swiggy?
I'll say it's going to be a 31-24 game. OU.
Ooh, that close.
Gavin, were you looking at my score earlier? Because my score was also 49-21. I think OU wants to blow TCU out of the water.
I did not. I don't even know. I can't even access looking at your scores, my dude. And I didn't even look at your notes or anything about that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was in the notes, but it was 49-21 was what I was right.
I did not look. I did not look at that part at all. So
sure. But yeah. I think anything could happen on it. If OU comes out flat, who knows? I do want to end on something positive, though. Something I did see, and I absolutely believe players should get a lot of kudos for this. Going back, where was it? I think I just exited out of my notes. One sec. Let me bring it back up. But did y'all also see in the news that Tony Bradford out of Texas Tech is using his NIL money to purchase over 200 turkeys for the Lubbock community? I think that's a very positive thing to end on.
Yes.
More players should be doing that. I saw the Thunder were also doing that, but shout out to Tony for that. That's cool. I will always I love people who give back to the community, and that's his own money doing that. Good for him, man. Turkeys aren't expensive, but they're not cheap either. $20 is a lot. That adds up really fast.
Yeah, it adds up real fast.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. I want to thank everybody who hung around with us. I hope we were entertaining tonight, guys. Remember, OU TCU, 11 a.m., Big 12 finale on, I think it's what, ESPN?
Fox.
Fox, that's right. That's Fox. It's on Fox. Be sure to check it out, guys. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know when we go live. Be sure to watch the old videos. Again, it adds the numbers, help out. It adds into the algorithm. And as well as, guys, join us Sunday for our recap of OU versus TCU. Boomer Sooner, guys. Only one Oklahoma. Go OU, beat TCU. For American viewers, have a happy, safe Thanksgiving. I'm out. We'll see y'all Sunday. Later.
Peace.